All right, so today I'm going to show you how to do a crocodile stitch. So crocodile stitch is done in multiples of 6 plus 3. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make your loop first. And so for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to do 24. Let's go ahead and make your chain, whatever size it is that you're working with. And because it has to be in multiples of 6, as I said, I'm going to do 24. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So go ahead and make your chain and then come back. Okay, so I've done my chain of 24 and I'm going to add 3. So whatever chain you've done in your multiples of 6, add 3 to the end of it now. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now in the third chain from your hook, you're going to double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. You're going to yarn over, push your hook through, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2. Okay. Now you're going to chain 2. 1, 2. You're going to skip 2 chains and then double crochet times 2. So there's your next chain. We're going to skip that and skip another. So we're skipping 2. And we're going to double crochet 2 times in this third one here. So yarn over, push through, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2. And we're going to do another one in that very same chain space. And now you're going to chain 2 again. 1, 2. You're going to skip 2 and double crochet 2 times in that next chain space. That's 1. We're going to do another one in the same space. Okay, chain 2. And go ahead and continue that all the way down your chain until you get to the end and then come back. Okay, so now you're at the very end of your chain here. So you're going to skip 2 and do your 2 double crochet. In that very last stitch at the end of your row. And this is why it's important to stick to the rule of the multiples of 6 plus 3, because otherwise you could end up with an extra chain if you don't follow that rule with this particular stitch. Okay, so now we finished that first row. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. This chain 3 is going to count as 1 double crochet. So now normally you would turn your work this way to start on the next row. That's not what we're going to do. So this first row that you've just completed is your foundation row. Every other row is going to be a foundation for your scales. So we're now going to begin the scales. And we're going to double crochet 4 times around the last stitch that we just made. So you're going to turn your work this way, clockwise. Okay, and we're going to double crochet 4 times around our last stitch here, our double crochet stitch. So 1, 2, excuse me, 3, and 4. And don't forget that I told you that that chain 3 is counting as a double crochet. So technically we've got 5 here. Okay, so now you're going to chain 1. Okay, so now we're going to do 5 double crochets around this post here. So you're going to yarn over and go right around it like the last one. Pull up a loop, and you're going to do your 5 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you're going to chain 1, and you've now finished your first scale. So now you're going to go over here. You're going to skip these next 2 posts and go to these ones. And you're going to do 5 double crochets around this first one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, turn it to do 5 double crochet around that second post that's with the one you just did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1. Skip these next 2, do 5 double crochets around this, chain 1, 5 double crochets around this. Skip these next 2, 5 and 5. Skip these next 2 and come back to me when you get to the end. Okay, so now that you've gotten to the very end, you have these last little 2 here. This is your very first double crochet that you had done in your foundation. This was your original chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. So you're going to go ahead and do your 5 double crochet around this, chain 1, 5 double crochet around here, and then come back. Okay, so now you've done your first row of your crocodile stitch scales, and you can start to see it taking shape. And now how to begin making your next row, which is going to be your foundation row again. So we're going to chain 3, which, don't forget, this counts as a double crochet. Okay, and now in between this first scale, we're going to do a double crochet. Okay, now we're going to chain 2, and then just open up and have a look to find those 2 posts that you had skipped in the previous row when you were making your scales, right around the entire thing. So around this and this, because you don't want it to be all messy and spaced out. So you're going to do 2 double crochets. So you're going to go right into the middle of that space and do 2 double crochets. Okay, and chain 2. In that next scale space, and you're not going into any stitches, you're going right around the actual space. You're going to do another 2 double crochet. Chain 2, and then right in that space again, not in the stitch, in the entire space, you're going to do 2 double crochet. This stitch can seem really tricky at first, but as you can already see what's happening, it's very repetitive. So once you get the hang of it, you're good to go. Chain 2. In that next scale, we're going to do another 2 double crochet. Okay. Chain 2. And you're just going to continue that all the way down and come back to me when you're done this row. Okay, so now that you're at the end, you're going to chain 1. And we're going to begin our next row of scales, but you're not going to start right here in the first one because you don't want them going over each other. You want them offsetting in the middle of the previous row's scales. Okay, so we're going to do our 5 double crochets around. You're going to skip these first 2 posts and you're going to go right to the next 2, and you're going to do them around here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, turn it clockwise, and go right around that next post. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1. Okay, so this is what it should look like so far. And you can see that your next row of scales that you're working on is going between the previous 2 scales. Okay. Okay, so now you're going to skip these next 2 and you're going to do your next scale here between the previous row. Do that all the way to the end and then come back. Okay, so when you get to the end of that row, every couple of rows you're going to have an ending looking like this. So to clean that up and keep it consistent, we're going to turn our work so you're looking at the back of it. In between these last 2 posts here, you're going to do a slip stitch. And then turn it back around. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do a double crochet in that same space, chain 2, and now you're going to continue on making your foundation row again. We're going to do 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then in between here 2 double crochet, chain 2, and continue on just following the pattern just like we just did for all the foundation rows and rows of scales.